Well, good morning. Hey, when are you going to do something about all these weeds around here, huh? And hello from Walla Walla, Washington. This is Don in front of a Morse speed radio drill. I'm going to go ahead and fit that collet chuck to this Morse taper 4 spindle. It's got a shank in there to Jacob's taper 5, and I had a bit of luck. One of those glide bearings came out a piece big enough that I can identify the bearing, and I wanted to this is the old camera here I have in my hand, and this here's the new rig with all from nice donations, and I tell you what, I will do a lot of videos on that. I made this little microphone extension up here, and this little grip here, and this thing here, because the plastic stuff falls apart. Okay, we'll switch over to that camera and see if the sound improves. Okay, there's the old camera there. And one of the problems I have is kind of funny. See, this is the off button here, and it's like smashed in and quit working, so I have to remove the battery to shut it off. But it still kind of works. I think the sound should be better. I'm kind of talking into the side of the microphone. It's all a little bit experimental. And I've got a proper microphone extension cable coming. I've tried a couple others, but I got one coming made by the manufacturer of this microphone, Rode, which I think has pretty good sound. I don't know. Well, anyway, I got this. This kind of came out on the back. On the other side, there's 2 of these, and I have to totally remove this head to replace these 2 bearings that this head glides on. Now, right now, with the bearings, you can see what I did here. What happened is somehow a handful of chips got back in there, and these bearings roll this head, right? The head just glides effortlessly on these bearings. And when something gets under it, and it doesn't take much, this is how the head locks on this wedge. So when these bearings rolled up onto something, it solidly locked that head, and it was all the way back there. So I had to get jacks and push the head forward. It was very difficult. It took me hours and hours. And then I got a brazing tip back in there and burnt that bearing out. At least burn it enough that I could fracture it the rest of the way with a chisel. But it's nice that I got a piece there, because there's enough there I can get the width and the diameter, and I can get the shaft size pretty easy on the back one here. So this this thing is coming along. I'm just wiping it down right now, and I'm going to get back inside and work on those tapers. It's a little too warm for jig boring. Let's say good morning, and I'm going to have to take Chloe around the duck pond here pretty quick, or feed. Okay. Well, are you coming? Here's Chloe on the steps of the old hospital I was born in. Someone asked me, hey Don, where were you born? I said, yeah, right across the street. What do you think, Chloe? Yeah, this whole building's kind of falling apart here. They don't have anybody in it this year, so they're gonna tear it down. Alrighty, still on the Morse tapers here, and I'm gonna refine it a little bit more for that drill press out there, and I'm gonna get that drill press moved up to the building here pretty quick. What I've got is an Arkansas stone. And this is spindle oil. It's about like gun oil. How we get that on there? Now, this here, let's see if I tilt that camera down just a little bit. Hope you're all doing good. This is a bearing scraper for like Babbitt or bronze or something you can get in there, and it's also good for getting inside like a Morse taper and knocking loose any metal that got jammed into the taper or something like that. So I'm going to sharpen this thing, and I'm going to go lightly across it this way here just to remove any burrs. And you can see that this is hollow ground. You can make these out of files. You know, heat them up, forge them, and shape them, and then re-harden them. This is a store-bought one. I think it's an import looking at the handle. So they've got to sharpen them. It's got an angle here on this edge, and I'm going to sharpen that edge. And I feel the roughness coming out immediately. This is a tool I've used a lot. And I've got a pretty heavy duty one I should grab and show you. Commercial made Babbitt scraper, I believe it's specifically for. So I'm just rolling that thing until I feel it catch that edge. Like if I have it back, it glides kind of smooth. Then I just roll it forward until I feel it drag. And you can feel it take the burrs off at that point. You kind of feel it kind of bumpy, then it starts smoothing. And it's got a rounded tip. And you can do the same with that tip. Okay, going on this side. Let's see if I can get behind the camera and you can see this. You don't see people sharpening these every day. That is my little dog making noise. Hey, Chloe, get over here. Still too early for her to be barking. Okay, I got the microphone facing away from here she comes. Okay, I'll get back on the other side. Probably couldn't hear me too well because the microphone was facing away. I haven't got that so it swivels. I'm going to work on that. You have to like move it. So you can actually see it starting to scrape the oil up from the stone when it's approaching that sharp edge. Then you just slightly roll it until you feel it drag. And all you got to do is just keep practicing on stuff like this. Next thing you know, you can sharpen scissors like this too. Very sharp if you're careful. What do you think, Chloe? Okay, Chloe, we'll go out and I'll show how this tool is used. I think I got that pretty good. Set that down. Wipe the oil off. Test on thumbnail. It scrapes thumbnail. Yeah, see? Sharp. Okay. Okay, got that big old spindle here. And I'm going to get a piece of paper towel up there and keep wiping that off. But hopefully from that angle, you can see what I'm doing with the scraper. I'm just getting it in there. You can even see it through there. And I'm just working it around very carefully. It's not cutting, it's really sharp. But every now and then I feel it pick up something. Okay, I'm starting way up in there. You just move, there's a spot right there, I feel it. Yeah. So I'm just kind of going around on it and just skating that really sharp edge over the surface of that taper. Let me turn that microphone this direction. There, it's facing me better. I hope you can see okay there. I get stuff out of the way. So, okay, I'm just basically deburring this. Just gliding that thing along. There's a little spot right there. There's another. This spindle socket has not had a whole lot of use. You can tell because it's not all battered up here where you eject it. Eject the drills. Now I'm going to make a lot of oh, there's a bad one. I am so glad I'm doing this before I start working on those shanks. Yeah, a little bit oh, it's feeling glass smooth, and there now is a little spot. Okay, I thought I'd show what I use to clean tapers with. Use an internal bearing scraper. Okay, we'll try that collet chuck in here. You can wipe that out. I get a stick in there, do it too. Huh, getting pretty clean. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, I'm gonna test this in the drill press. I'll get a fresh surface going on it. Got the clover compound here. A little bit of oil, clover compound. Still seems to have a little bit of contact right in that area, but the odd looking surface that it had is disappearing. Okay, I'm going to reverse it. Try to get a real smooth finish going here. The import shanks have a pretty nasty finish compared to like Jacob's. And I'll show you something about Jacob's shanks that makes this, what I'm doing, a little bit easier. Yeah, that looks good. I'll grab a Jacob's shank here. Okay, you see how they have that relief right in the middle? It actually makes it easier to lap these things in if you're inclined to. And there's machines that are more accurate than standard machines that use Morse tapers. So it would be more sensitive to get stuff, better contact, like grinding machines or jig board type machines or whatever. But that little relief there makes it easier to lap these in. Now on the more jig board, it doesn't have that little relief on the shank, but if you reach your finger up in there, you'll feel that relief in the spindle socket, and that's for the same reason. It's easier to work two areas than blend one area in. And it would be easier if I just ground that same kind of thing into that. It would be easier to true this in, but I don't know. Anyway, back out to the drill press and see how this looks. Chloe's in the bushes there chasing a gopher. You hear her snorting. Okay, so I got this, I'm wiping that off, and we'll get a little ink on there. Okay, let's get that up in there. Oh, it's starting to feel quite a bit better than it did. I'm just going to do the twisting action. Yeah, this thing didn't want to stay in there very good. And we'll look at the contact. It's still got a bunch right there and here, and I'm not seeing any right through there. Kind of sketchy. I'm going to mark it a little more. Put a little more ink on top of it. Okay. Might have to go back to the drawing board on this one. and put that groove in it, because this is the machine I really want this to fit into. It'll be very handy to have those ER40 collets. Okay. Look at this lead hammer. Okay, now I have to eject it. Now, I hope that ejector pin is right here. I think I hold it back. Can I be back? Oh, that thing's right in front of me, just laying weird. Whoop, get that in there. No, I didn't send it to the next county. It's got contact through it, but I sure don't like the way this is looking. It's looking a little better than the old Axelson there. I think I'll work on this just a little bit more. Okay, we are running 13 RPM on the Axelson, and that's what 13 looks like. And what I'm doing, I'll turn the microphone kind of to the side here. Hold on. I got a few improvements to do on microphones coming up here. I tell you, this stuff. Okay, I think you can hear me. Okay, we got the precision ground stones here. Rub them together and start working this. And I think this is an excellent way to do it. Other than putting it in the grinder and regrinding it, that not everybody can do. And the stones appear to be showing the high spots. The way the ink was. You know, I feel a lot of roughness coming out. Let's see if we get better contact. I kind of think going very slow like this is the best idea. If you're going to do it at all, huh? I may end up regrinding this, but I thought I'd give this a shot. I'll have other tapers to regrind. I'm going to fit a lot of tooling to that radial drill. And the taper attachment on this Axelson and the Monarch 10EE is going to come in pretty handy. You know, I can't tell you if I'm doing this right or wrong, but sometimes you got to do something, even if it's wrong, I guess, huh? I've used these stones an awful lot. It's amazing how much abuse they seem to take and stay flat and still work. See, this roughness here was in the original grind, and they disguised it by going over it with like a brush abrasive that covered up all this stuff. Like I say, this is an import shank. Wow, that's really a strange pattern. Okay. We'll get out there and test it. Out you come. Okay, it's real easy to bump the microphone on this camera, so I'm reshooting this scene. It's a little later in the day here, and I discovered I had no sound. So I used the, you see the sun on there, maybe you can see the, just kind of an, the finish that it left using the precision stones. So let's put a stripe down it and stick it up in there and see if we got good contact. Oh, it's got good contact. I stuck it up there, now I can't even move it. Okay, let's knock that loose. There's a hammer. Okay, it wasn't in there very tight. Let's try that again. Boy, it's looking good though. Just want to squeeze it back and forth a little bit here. And I will take and knock it up with this battered lead hammer. Okay, now I gotta knock it out of there. And how are we looking here? It is very hard to see that mark, but it's got a lot evener contact. I can see it clear through the shank here using the precision stones last. But I think lapping to get the worst of it, then use the precision stones. And I think I showed that running at about 15 RPM. And I found, playing around with it, you can kind of, this is moving slow, so you kind of need to move the stone kind of rapidly if you want to attempt this. But otherwise, if your lathe doesn't go real slow, and it's got to go slow, you can just roll this along a piece of wood and do the same thing with the stones, just takes a little longer, okay? But I'm very, very happy with this. It's just really looking pretty good to me. Yeah, it's just really sticking in there. See, before I'd have to knock it in, and see, I just put it in, not that hard, and I can't pull it out. It's in there. See, that's working good. Okay, I'm going to check the rest of my shanks. I don't know if you ever heard of a tool called a super finisher, but it's a tool you use on a lathe, and it's got a single stone. And I just discovered with these precision ground stones that they used a precision ground stone on the super finisher because it leaves that same pattern over something that's ground. Okay, it's working good, and I'm real happy about that. I'm going to put a link to a sale of an acquaintance of Topper Machine, a fellow's named Josh. Check out his channel, Topper Machine. He's a regular guy, and he's come across an estate sale that's pretty outrageous. So I'll put a link to that video. So if you're interested in, they're kind of smaller tools. The estate, the biggest machines the fellow had was a hard-hinge HLVH and a Bridgeport, but he had small jig bores and little micron lathes and just more stuff than you would believe in that smaller category. Okay, so I'll put a link to that. You might find that interesting. Okay, thanks for tuning in today. Oh, what do you think?